It's me, Miss Borek, and I'm back. I am back. I hope you missed me because I missed you. I am back to read you the next chapter in our Magic Treehouse book. Our book, if you remember, is called Vacation Under the Volcano, and we are on chapter 7. That means we are almost done. We have 7, 8, 9, and the last chapter, chapter 10. And this chapter, guys, is intense. I peeked and I looked ahead and I saw this chapter, things get real. This chapter is called The Sky is Falling, and this is where the volcano actually erupts. Are you scared? I'm scared. I hope Jack and Annie are going to be okay. Boys and girls, don't forget, we always have a question before we start reading. So make sure you have your journal because we are going to be taking notes. We are going to be taking notes today on a flow map. You're right. This is a flow map. It sequences the events of something. And today, if you've already read the question, you know what we're sequencing. But if not, we are going to be sequencing the events of a volcanic eruption. An eruption is when something blows up, right? So today we're talking about the volcano in our story. What happens when a volcano explodes? We will talk about what happens at first. We're going to give 2 Tell Me Mores. We'll talk about what happens after that with 2 Tell Me Mores. And we'll talk about the last thing that happens finally with 2 Tell Me Mores. Do you guys remember what goes in these boxes? What are we going to put in these boxes? The events. Remember, we are sequencing events. So each one of these is going to have some event, something that has happened. All right, my friends, if you do not have your paper and pencil, now's a good time to pause it. If you need to pause it so you can write down that question, hit pause. I'll wait for you, I promise. That's how pause works. I wait while you pause. I don't even know how long you're taking. You could pause it and come back 2 days from now. I wouldn't know. But if you need to copy down this question, do so. What happens when a volcano erupts? That's today's focus question. Let's keep that in mind as we read chapter 7. That's right. And chapter 7 is called The Sky is Falling. The next thing Jack knew, he was laying on the stone patio. Doesn't seem like the right time for a nap. The patio stones were trembling. A rumbling sound came from the ground. Jack raised his head. Annie was on the ground too. "Are you okay?" said Annie. Jack nodded. Everything was shaking and crashing around them. Pots, plants, the mermaid in the fountain was shaking. So what's the first thing that happens when a volcano erupts? That's right. The ground starts to shake. At first, the ground shakes. Pots and pans start to fall. People may fall down. Who fell down in our story? You're right. Jack and Annie fell. They say they're okay, so I hope they are. Let's keep reading. Excuse me. They both jumped up just as the roof tiles began to fall into the garden. "We better get inside," said Jack. He grabbed his leather bag. Then he and Annie stumbled into the scroll library. Giant cracks split the stone floor as Jack and Annie ran to a window and looked out. Glowing rocks were bursting through the sky above Mount Vesuvius. The whole top of the mountain had blown off. After that, the top of the mountain blows off. Hot rocks shoot into the sky. Let's see if we can think of something else to write there. Glowing rocks were bursting through the sky above. The whole top of the mountain had blown off. Seems like we don't have a Tell Me More yet, unless you can think of one. If you can, you're smarter than me. But I already knew that. Y'all are way smart, real smart, so smart. I miss you guys. "What's happening?" said Annie. "I'll check," said Jack. He pulled out the Roman book. He read aloud from the section about the volcano. "When a volcano erupts, hot melted rock called magma is pushed to the surface of the earth. Once it gets outside, it's called lava." Hey, we could write that. So after that, the top blows off of the volcano. Hot rocks shoot into the air. Lava flows out. There's Tell Me More number 2. I hope you guys are writing this down. "Lava! That's like burning mud," said Jack. "It covers everything," cried Annie. Jack kept reading. "There was no running from lava from Mount Vesuvius. The magma from the lava volcano cooled so fast that it froze into small grayish white rocks called pumice." You guys see that text feature again? It tells me how to pronounce that word. Pumice. Kind of hard for you to see, huh? Oop, there we go. Pumice. A pumice rock is very light and has holes like a sponge. Oh my goodness. Hey guys, I know this little trick to remember that inside it's called magma. Inside magma, outside lava, cooled rock. So inside it's called magma. Outside it's called lava. Once it flows down and it solidifies, it becomes a solid, we then call it rocks. Special kind of rocks like pumice or igneous, lots of different types of rock. So we still need that last thing. Oops, pointed to the wrong square. That last thing, that last event. So we know what happens first. We know what happens then. Let's see what happens last when a volcano explodes. That doesn't sound too bad, said Annie. Wait, there's more, said Jack. He read on. A great cloud of pumice, ash, and burning rock shot miles into the air when it rained down on Pompeii. That's the last thing that happens. The rock, the ash, and the big cloud of smoke fills the air. It completely buried the town in ash. Oh my God. The ground shakes. The top blows off. Ash covers the land. Oh man, said Jack. This is a major disaster. It's getting dark, said Annie. Jack looked out again. A thick black cloud was spreading over the earth like an umbrella. The sun vanished as the sky turned to a smoky gray. So once the cloud starts to cover the earth, the sky turns dark and day becomes night. Those are 2 tell me mores we could write. Oh my goodness. This is getting scary. So Jack looked out and he sees that the cloud is covering the earth and the sun is beginning to vanish, which means disappear. That cloud must be the cloud of pumice and ash, said Jack. Just then the ground trembled again. What does it mean to tremble? To shake, yes, to vibrate. Chunks of plaster from the ceiling fell onto the scrolls. We have to get out of here, says Annie. They ran from the scroll library into the garden. Ash and pumice began to fall. We have to cover our heads, said Jack. They hurried from the garden into the dining room. Look, pillows, said Annie. Let's put them on our heads. They hurried to the couches beside the table and grabbed a pillow. They tied it around their head with a belt. They both pulled off the belts from around their tunics. Then they tied the pillows like giant hats. Why do you think they would put the hats on, or the pillows on their heads like hats? You're right, to protect them, because pillows are soft and squishy. So it will kind of protect them if the pumice rocks fall on their heads. Chunks of ceiling crashed down near them. Let's get out of here, said Jack. They stepped over pieces of fallen roof tiles and ran into the main hall. They pushed open the door. A blast of heat and dust nearly knocked them over. And when they stepped outside, pumice rained down on their pillow hats. Run! Cried Annie. They ran from the vacation villa into the dark, burning streets. Everything's on fire. Ooh, I feel like somebody had a dream about everything being on fire. Who had a dream about everything being on fire? Do you remember? You're right, it was Annie. Annie's dream is coming true. She dreamt that the streets were going to be on fire, that everything was going to be burning. And that's what's happening. Oh man, maybe Jack was wrong. Maybe dreams do come true. Our next chapter, my friends, is called Nightmare at Noon. And I'm actually going to continue. You guys are in for a special treat. You get 2 chapters in one day. Oh, that's awesome, right? See if there's any more tell me mores that you can add to your thinking map. Okay, friends? Let's keep reading this book. No, we know what the book's called. This chapter is called Nightmare at Noon. Hey. He said that it was turning from day till night. It was noon when that volcano started to erupt. And he said it was getting dark. Wow. That cloud of smoke and ash really does turn day into night because noon is like the brightest time of the day. Wow, volcanoes are kind of sketchy, don't you think? Nightmare at Noon, Chapter 8. In the distance, fire burst from Mount Vesuvius. Burning rock and fiery ash fell from the sky. The hot, dusty air smelled like rotten eggs, and Jack and Annie rushed down the street. Hey, if you didn't catch one of those other Tell Me Mores, for the cloud of smoke, you could say it smelled like rotten eggs. That could be a Tell Me More for your event there. Yeah, that's a good one, right? In the forum, everyone, shoppers, soldiers, gladiators, fruit sellers, was running in every direction. Stalls had collapsed, carts were sliding, Jack froze. He didn't know where to go. Look at them all. They all look frightened. They're all covering their heads too, except for this guy. That's probably why he's crying. He doesn't have anything covering his head. Oh, all that pumice falling, pieces of the ceiling. Everything is coming crashing down. That way! Shouted Annie. Jack followed her as they ran past the temple of Jupiter. Its mighty columns had fallen, and its walls were crumbling. They ran past the public baths just as the roof caved in. Which way now? Shouted Annie. The treehouse is in the olive grove, Jack said as they kept running. The olive grove and the bridge are near the street with all the open shops, said Annie. Remember the bridge? Oof, now seems like a very bad time to go on a bridge, don't you think? As the ground is shaking and everything is collapsing and ash and pumice are raining down. Yeah, terrible time to take the bridge, brah. Not a good idea. Jack looked at the erupting mountain. A red, hot cloud billowed over. That means like it overflowed. Fires burned on slopes. Headed in the direction of Mount Vesuvius, he said. It was behind us as we came into Pompeii. Right, cried Annie. So while the others ran away from the Mount Vesuvius, Jack and Annie ran right toward it. They have to if they want to get home. On the street with the open shops, baskets, and broken jars rolled over cracked stones. Jack and Annie ran past the bakery and the shoe shop. And they ran past the butcher and the barber shop. What's a barber shop? Oh, yeah, that's somebody who cuts your hair. One of my friends got a haircut. I see you. All the shops were empty. Their owners had fled. That means they ran away. The closer they got to the volcano, the more the ground trembled. The darker and dustier it got. This is just like my nightmare, says Annie. Jack choked on the rotten fumes. His eyes watered. Look! The olive grove! Shouted Annie. The tree house is just over there. Come on! Jack could hardly see, but he followed Annie. They left the street and ran into the dried up stream near the olive grove. Where's the bridge? Cried Annie. They looked around wildly. The bridge had vanished. Oh my goodness. Look at that. There's a big crater in the earth. How are they going to get past that? How are they going to get back to that magic treehouse so they can get home to their family to leave on vacation? Will they ever make it back to Frog Creek Woods? We won't find out today because, y'all, that's the end of this chapter. Look, friends. Oh, my goodness. This next chapter. It's chapter 9, guys, and it's called Save Us. I hope somebody helps them. I hope somebody saves them. Who could save them, though? Everything is crashing down around them. The volcano has erupted. The top blew off. The ground is shaking. Buildings are collapsing. Ash and soot and clouds are covering the sun. Ooh, their world, it must feel like it's ending. Do you guys know that this is actually a true event? This is what we call a realistic fiction. So even though this story did not really happen, Jack and Annie did not really travel back in time, Mount Vesuvius in Pompeii really did, legit, explode. And it buried the entire town. Tons of people were covered and frozen into that hot lava as it cooled and it turned into igneous rock. People were stuck there, frozen, some of them like this. others like this, some like this. I'm serious. If you ask your parents, you could look it up. For sure, you could Google it. Mount Vesuvius explosion buries the town of Pompeii. With your parents, though, because you don't want to get anything like weird. So make sure you ask your parents. Guys, another thing you need to make sure that you do is answer this question on Google Classroom. And if I am not your teacher, check with your teacher. And if you're doing this just because you love me and you love reading, then just write your answer in your journal. Turn this question into an answer. What happens when a volcano erupts? I know what happens when a volcano erupts. At first, beepity bop, boopity bop, bleep bop. After that, beep bop, boopity boo. And finally, da 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 doo da da da. Now you know what happens when a volcano erupts. That's your Big Bang ending. Write it down so you don't forget. Yes, friends. Actually, totes forgot to tell you guys. This is your weekly writing assignment. Remember I told you today on Zoom that this map will plan your weekly writing? So after you have this done, guys, tomorrow, which is Wednesday, that's sign language, 3 fingers, Wednesday. Tomorrow on Wednesday, you can start typing it. Yay! And then Thursday, you read through it. Maybe have mom, dad, brother, sister, aunt, uncle check it. And then hit that submit button. That's exciting, right? It's kind of like a 2-in-1 and a 3-in-1 if you call like me reading 2 chapters like a double deal. And then also I made your map for you. That's kind of like a 3-in-1 deal. Yay! Thanks for joining. I miss you guys so much. I can't wait to see you. I'll see you later. Bye!